The year is 1888. The streets of Whitechapel are dark, damp, and filled with fear. The fog rolls in, cloaking the alleys in an eerie silence. A shadow stalks the night, preying on the vulnerable. The figure moves with a sinister purpose, unseen but deeply felt. His name, Jack the Ripper, a name that would become synonymous with fear and brutality. This is not just a story about a killer, it's about the enduring power of mystery, the darkness that can lurk in the human heart, and the long, arduous journey for justice. It's a tale that has fascinated and horrified generations. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror, brief as it was, left an indelible mark on London's East End, a scar that even time has struggled to heal. The fear he instilled was profound and long-lasting. The Whitechapel murders, as they were known, gripped the city with a terror that was palpable. The streets became a place of dread and suspicion. Women, many of them living in abject poverty, were terrified to walk the streets alone, even in broad daylight. The fear was a constant companion. The newspapers were filled with speculation, rumour, and often sensationalised accounts of the murders, further fueling the public's morbid fascination. Every new detail was devoured by a horrified yet intrigued public. Every shadow held the potential threat of the Ripper, and every whisper seemed to carry his name. The fear was omnipresent, lurking in every corner. But who was Jack the Ripper? The question haunted the minds of many. Despite numerous suspects and countless theories, his true identity remained a mystery, a shadowy enigma that has haunted us for over a century, until now. The search for the truth has been relentless. The advancements in DNA technology, coupled with the tireless work of dedicated investigators, have finally shed light on one of history's most enduring mysteries, bringing us face to face with the monster who terrorized London's East End. The veil of mystery is finally lifting. The name Jack the Ripper is forever intertwined with the brutal murders of 5 women, whose lives were tragically cut short in the dark alleys of Whitechapel. These women, all living in poverty and working as prostitutes, became known as the Canonical Five, linked by the savagery of their deaths and the chilling similarities in their killers' modus operandi. Their stories are a grim reminder of the harsh realities faced by many in Victorian London. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, 5 lives tragically cut short, their stories forever etched in the annals of criminal history. Each woman had her own unique story, her own struggles, and her own dreams, all cruelly ended by a faceless monster. The murders began in August of 1888 with the brutal slaying of Mary Ann Nichols. Her death sent shockwaves through the community, marking the beginning of a reign of terror that would haunt Whitechapel for months. Her body, discovered in Bucks Row, bore the hallmarks of the Ripper's gruesome handiwork: a slashed throat, abdominal mutilations, and the removal of organs. The brutality of the crime was unlike anything the police had seen before. Just a week later, Annie Chapman was found murdered in Hanbury Street, her body similarly mutilated. The killer's audacity and the ferocity of his attacks left the community in a state of constant fear. The city was gripped by fear, the killer's audacity growing with each gruesome act. The newspapers were filled with lurid details, and the public's anxiety reached a fever pitch. September brought a terrifying escalation in the Ripper's reign of terror. The streets of Whitechapel became a hunting ground, and no woman felt safe. On the night of September 30th, 2 women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were murdered within hours of each other. This night would be remembered as the double event, a night of unprecedented horror. Stride's body, discovered in Dutfield's yard, bore the mark of the Ripper's blade, but lacked the abdominal mutilations present in the previous murders. It seemed the killer had been interrupted. Eddowes' body, found less than an hour later in Mitre Square, was brutally mutilated, her face slashed beyond recognition. The sheer savagery of the attack left the community reeling. The final victim, Mary Jane Kelly, met a horrific end on November 9th. Her murder was the most gruesome of all, a final, bloody act that would haunt the memories of those who saw it. Her mutilated body was discovered in her room in Miller's Court, the scene so gruesome that even seasoned police officers were shocked by the level of brutality. The Ripper's reign of terror had reached its horrifying climax. Kelly's murder marked a terrifying climax to the Ripper's reign of terror, a final, bloody act of defiance before he seemingly vanished into thin air. The mystery of Jack the Ripper remains unsolved, but the legacy of the Canonical Five endures, a haunting reminder of a dark chapter in history. Amidst the fear and chaos that gripped London, one piece of correspondence stood out, adding another layer of chilling intrigue to the case. This letter would become one of the most infamous documents in criminal history, forever linked to the terror that stalked the streets of Whitechapel. The Dear Boss letter, as it came to be known, was received by the Central News Agency on September 27, 1888, just days before the double murder of Stride and Eddowes. The timing of its arrival only added to the sense of dread that permeated the city. The letter, penned in a bold, almost theatrical hand, claimed responsibility for the murders and taunted the police for their inability to catch the elusive killer. The handwriting itself seemed to mock the authorities, as if the writer took perverse pleasure in their frustration. "Dear Boss," the letter began, "I keep on hearing the police have caught me, but they won't fix me just yet." The casual tone of the opening line belied the horror that was to follow. The author, claiming to be Jack the Ripper, went on to describe his gruesome plans for his next victim, even boasting about sending half of a human ear to the police. This grotesque promise was a chilling indication of the writer's depravity and his desire to instill fear. This chilling detail, coupled with the letter's audacious tone, sent a wave of panic through the city. People were already on edge, and this letter only served to heighten their terror, making them feel as though the killer was always one step ahead. While the authenticity of the Dear Boss letter has been debated for decades, its impact on the Jack the Ripper case cannot be overstated. Historians and criminologists have long argued over whether it was a genuine communication from the killer or a cruel hoax designed to further terrorize the public. It was this letter that gave the world the infamous moniker Jack the Ripper, a name that would become synonymous with terror, mystery, and the dark underbelly of Victorian London. The name itself evoked a sense of dread and fascination that has endured for over a century. The letter also served to further taunt the police, highlighting their struggles and fueling public outrage over their inability to apprehend the killer. The public's trust in the police was already fragile, and this letter only exacerbated their frustration and fear. The Dear Boss letter, whether a genuine communication from the killer or a cruel hoax, became a pivotal piece of the puzzle, adding fuel to the fire of speculation and cementing Jack the Ripper's place in criminal history. It became a symbol of the mystery and horror that surrounded the case. It serves as a chilling reminder of the power of words, even in the darkest of circumstances, to instill fear, to taunt, and to leave an enduring mark on the collective consciousness. The Dear Boss letter remains a haunting testament to the terror that gripped Victorian London and the enduring mystery of Jack the Ripper. Now let's delve into the tragic story of Catherine Eddowes, another victim of Jack the Ripper. Her garment found at the scene held crucial evidence. It was a piece of her apron, stained with blood, and it led investigators to a nearby alley. There, they discovered the infamous chalk message on the wall. This message, though controversial, became a significant clue in the investigation. The garment and the message together painted a chilling picture of that fateful night. It's been over 100 years, but finally the mystery has been solved. Historians and enthusiasts alike have long speculated, but now we have concrete evidence. It's a remarkable breakthrough that changes our understanding of the past. Who was the person behind the terrifying legend? For years, the identity remained shrouded in darkness, but now we can put a face to the monster. It's a revelation that humanizes the myth and provides closure to a story that has haunted us for generations. After all the investigations and countless theories, we have reached the final verdict. The evidence is irrefutable, and the conclusions are clear. It's a decisive moment that brings an end to the speculation and offers a definitive answer. While we've solved one mystery, many others remain. But this breakthrough gives us hope. It shows that with perseverance and dedication, even the most perplexing puzzles can be unraveled. The journey continues, and who knows what other secrets we might uncover in the future.